Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. I'll be your reader this evening. We are here live Friday, January 31st, 2025, and we're doing live readings on the channel this evening. So if you can see me, give me a thumbs up, like the stream, and say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from, especially if this is your first time. If you guys are watching this on Saturday and Sunday, I'm no longer live, so you can catch me next week. I will be here doing astrology. And if you send any payment, we will refund you because sometimes, well, people catch us the day after. So hopefully your guys' weekend is off to a great start. I'm excited to be doing some tarot readings for you guys this evening. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm a Western astrologer and a tarot reader. You can scan the QR code. It'll take you to my PayPal if you want to get in the queue for a reading. Scan the QR code and it'll take you to the payment option. And we're doing readings for $20 for one card or $40 for a 3-card spread. Please put any information pertaining to your one question in the memo box when you send payment. We also take super chat. And those of you guys who are obviously level 3 members, thank you guys so much for joining me. Those of you guys who don't know, I have membership options on my YouTube channel. We've got 3 different levels. You can join for level 1 and submit payment monthly. This is going to support me as a full-time content creator. Level 2, you support me and you get a shout out at the beginning of the month. Every month we go down the laundry list of people who support. And level 3 does all of those things, but you get a reading from me once a month. Level 3 members get to cut in line. They are taken first, so you guys don't have to wait for your lengthy wait times for a reading. You can pick one Friday once a month, and you can get a tarot or an astrology reading from me. So consider joining level 3 if you guys would like to get a reading this evening. We've got a couple people who are already in the queue. What's up? Stephanie's tuning in. David's here. CZ, Dorothy. We've got a couple people who joined level 1. Well, thank you guys for your support. Appreciate it. Share the live stream and give me a thumbs up if you guys can see me. All right, so the way that this works is I'm going to call out a number of names. I'll let you guys know who's in the queue. And if you hear your name, not only do I have you, but if you hear your name again, that means your reading is coming up. We'll be dealing the cards live. You'll see an overhead shot of the cards in real time, and I will be giving you guys your answers. So we have got a number of people who are already in the queue who are waiting. I know that Dorothy and CZ are here. They're level 3 members. Thank you guys. And we've got Alora and Vanessa. We'll let you know when we're going to call last call. Usually we'll do that after a number of readings. And that's just a heads up that we're getting ready to close the queue. So once you hear that, you're going to want to get in. Otherwise, you can catch me back here next week. All right, so we're gonna start with Dorothy and then we'll have a CZ and I'll be answering your guys' questions. I saw Dorothy was leaving me a little love note here in the chat. She says, Candace, I got ghosted this week. You said 3 months ago and you were so right. I wanted to see if it was real. My question is someone better coming soon? All right, well, let's see if we can give Dorothy some insight on her love life after being ghosted. Unfortunately, this is a theme with Venus conjunct Neptune and we're in Venus shadows. So there's definitely a lot of like, what the heck moments when it comes to dating and relationships. So let's see what we can tell Dorothy about whether or not something better is coming. All right, so here we go. We've got, in this order, we've got the Fool card, the 5 of coins, and the Hermit. So what's interesting is I think that this is actually kind of pointing to some kind of like clearing out and restart that you're going to be having, especially like in the month of March. If I remember correctly, you're a Gemini rising. So if you're a Gemini rising, then Jupiter rules your 7th house and you're going to be having like retrogrades and stuff that's going to be going on. So just remind me. But essentially, the Fool card is saying like, okay, fools rush in, right? Could have been a situation where you felt like it was going to take off. It was going to be something. You took a risk. You took a gamble, hoping that it was going to be something that might potentially stick. Now, when I think about the Fool card, it does talk about throwing all caution to the wind and kind of being like, you know what, let's see where this goes. This could be, a total opportunity for you to have some excitement and something new. And there is this sense of like not being attached to any particular outcome. So you got to give yourself credit for the fact that you were willing to put yourself out there and like take a risk. I think the Fool card in the past position talks about like experiences that we have in relationships. And also it talks about learning from past kind of habits and patterns. So you might be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Like, I'll give myself credit, but I'm not going to be so quick to fall for someone. I'm not going to be so quick to like also take them back if they end up coming back around. I think that followed by the 5 of coins can for me, at least if this were my reading, I'd be like, don't, like, you know, why did I do that? Or, you know, why am I kind of left holding the bag emotionally? 5 of coins does talk about feeling like left out in the cold and yeah, being hurt or feeling like not appreciated or taken for granted because you gave somebody a chance. And when the 5 of coins comes up, we feel like we are lost, we don't have what we need, you know, like something is being withheld from us. And so it can kind of represent right now beating yourself up a little bit over what happened. And being like, what's wrong with me? Or like, why didn't somebody get back to me? Or like, why am I not being valued? Why am I not important? So I think that I would not want to stay in that situation. Obviously, this is a minor card, so it means that the situation can change. And it's also talking about a brief moment where you're kind of like reflecting on this, going like, hold on a second, I'm not gonna allow this to be something that's going to impact my self-esteem or feel bad about myself, or maybe even put me in a position of like not being open to meeting another person. Specifically, the Fool can represent a new beginning. It can mean that there is another person coming in, a newer person. I would be looking for signs that are going to be associated with Virgo, as well as I would say Aquarius. These are the 2 signs that kind of get triggered, especially Aquarius season through what might be the eclipses. We're going to have an eclipse in Virgo, obviously taking place in March. And this can mean like it's like a turning point for you. So if you look at, okay, took a chance, things didn't go so well, didn't really feel like it was reciprocated. The Hermit card is reflecting on that. He's actually shining a light on that, being like, hold on a second, like you shouldn't be left to feel that way, or you should not be somebody who is begging for the bare bones in terms of a romantic kind of connection. And the Hermit card can also be really helpful for being like, you know what, rather than continuing to try to engage with this person, I'm going to keep to myself. I'm going to reflect on what happened. I'm going to think about it and also realize that maybe I was saved, or maybe it was a good thing that, you know, I ended up not having a continuation of a connection with this person. And the Hermit card can also be kind of talking about this shift in your perspective revolving around dating and relationships and not feeling like you need to seek something. The Fool seeks, right? But the evolved version of the Fool is the Hermit. So after seeking and kind of getting himself into some sticky situations, or maybe kind of getting in over his head, there is a sense of like maturing and kind of evolving into the Hermit, where it's like, okay, I've been there, done that, seen those things, not going back to that particular person, or I'm not going to be replaying that similar scenario again. Look for the change to be happening closer to around the eclipse in Virgo. And this can also mean that there is like a 5-week period, 5-month period of like turnover before you're considering going into what might be another relationship. I also feel like the Hermit card can be about kind of reflecting on the connection you had with this person. What did they bring to the table? What did you like? Where were you guys kind of like a good match? But also, where were you maybe settling or selling yourself short? And maybe overlooking things that weren't necessarily beneficial for a long-term relationship. I think it's wonderful for taking time to kind of pause and reflect and kind of regroup and center and figure out like the list of requirements or things that you're actually looking for in a relationship. Maybe it was kind of coming in to give you some perspective and kind of show you what's out there, what you want, what you don't want. So that way you can regroup and kind of figure out, okay, now that I've had that experience, what's next? And like, where am I not going to repeat some of those patterns? Not seeking something seems to be like the theme here, is like not seeking specifically. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you. And let me know what happens when March comes around, okay? All right. Hey, Juliana, you have to leave a comment in the chat, or you have to send me an email. So I don't have my phone on me because I don't really check Instagram very much. Sent a private message on before. I don't think anybody saw it. Last reading, I made the payment for it and couldn't stay for the entire live, so it didn't happen. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Hold on. What was your name on PayPal? Is it also Juliana? Just want to make sure that we take care of that because I don't want to leave you hanging. Was it last week? Yeah, let me know what your name is on PayPal so that way I can search for you. I have on the 17th. Oh yeah, I remember calling your name and not hearing anything. Yeah, just send me your question. If you can send me your question on the chat, that would be better because I don't have access to my Instagram. Just put it in the memo next time when you send the payment, so that way I make sure I get your question. What's up, Laura? Let's take a look. So we have people who are waiting, for those of you guys who are asking. We've got Dorothy, Alora, we've got Vanessa, CZ, Alana, Stacy, Vanessa again, and Chelsea. So if you hear your name, that means I've got you, don't worry. And I'll call your name out. Thanks, Juliana. I will add you to my list. You'll be after Vanessa, okay? Cool. All right, so we've got CZ now, and I'll make sure I take a look at your question. What's up, CZ? She says, hey, lovely Candace. My question is, what am I doing, not doing? Why is love not showing up in my life? Sag rising, Pisces, Sun, Scorpio, Moon. Well, hold tight, CZ. Your 7th house ruler is about to go direct in this next week. When Jupiter goes direct, it's going to be really beneficial for forward motion in relationships. For Sag rising, especially with like Pisces in your chart, between Saturn like on your Sun in your 4th house and the squares to Jupiter, has not necessarily manifested as growth in relationships, even for partnered Sagittarius risings. And then the eclipses that you're gonna have in Virgo in March are gonna be good too. But let's see what the cards can tell you. I have Alora, so I'm gonna assume that that's you. All right, so this is for CZ. What does she need to know about love? Is she doing something wrong? What insight can we give her in terms of this? And is something better on the way? So in this order, we've got the World card, the 10 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups. Well, it's interesting. Hi, there's a lot of cups here. So it can be like a very emotional time for you in regards to relationships. Good news is that the ending with the World card coming up, I think, is positive. It's about kind of wrapping something up revolving around karma and law and responsibility and lessons that you're learning revolving around relationships and like clearing stuff out. But the reading starts with the 7 of Cups, which is like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. It's like, I'll try doing this, I'll try doing this, I'll try dating, I'm gonna try waiting, I'm gonna see if I can, try to date somebody different than I typically would. And almost like a sense of overwhelm with the 7 of Cups, with trying to do everything to figure out a way to make relationships work. So what you also want to do is you want to look at your chart and you want to see where your 7th house ruler Jupiter is natally and if planets are making aspects to that. But just going off of Saturn on your Sun in your 4th house, I think of the 7 of Cups, which is kind of like lost and confusing or feeling limited or not knowing which way is up and like when something is going to manifest or the best way to be able to connect with someone. It can mean that you have also been either indecisive or that there has been like a lack of clarity revolving around what it is that you want. So it's been difficult for you to like actually find connections with people or feel like you're looking in the right places or that you're engaging with people who you feel like are just not clear, on their own. 10 of Cups in the current position. So this is kind of like what's coming up for you in the immediate near future. And the 10 of Cups is one of the best cards you can pull if you're asking questions about relationships, because cups equate to emotion, relationships, partnerships, and the 10 of Cups represents fulfillment. So we've got 2 cards that are like, it's coming, you're getting ready to reach this point where there's going to be something significant that's going to be manifesting. 10 of Cups is an interesting card. I mean, you see like a couple standing, embracing each other outside, looking at the rainbow, hanging out, playing with their family. So this can basically be saying like there is a pot of gold at the end of this storyline of I haven't been able to find anybody, I can't find anybody, relationships don't work for me. That actually has a really good ending. It can also be talking about like increments of 10. So 10 weeks, the 10th month, anything like that. It's going to be kind of connected to maybe even the 10th day of a month that you're going to see a shift. 10 of Cups is like the happy ever after card, right? It's like the relationship, the commitment, the long-term, partnership. And it can be talking about personal fulfillment that also leads to like long-term goals as well as family. So I'm thinking like with the 7 of Cups coming up and the 10 of Cups, like as a Sag rising, Jupiter going through your 7th house, there's this sense of like, who am I in relationship to other people? What is my purpose? What is it that I'm looking for? What would be good for me? And I think that you're still going through some of these questions and you're asking yourself that. And the 10 of Cups is basically saying that you're going to be able to encounter somebody or have an interaction with somebody that's going to help you realize what it is that you actually do want. The World card is the finale, obviously, for the major arcana. So this represents kind of going through a cycle and finally having a breakthrough and being able to figure out, okay, why did this thing happen? Why did I meet this person? Why was I blocked? And it's literally about clearing karma. I call this like the pass go collect $200 like card, it's like, okay, we put you through the trials. Now you're going to be able to kind of come out the other side and you're going to learn a lesson in the process. My guess is that, especially for like a Sag rising, I think about the tide really starting to turn around Aries season. You're going to have retrogrades in your 5th house, which can be bringing some kind of significant turning point in a romantic relationship. You're also going to be seeing that there's going to be a solar eclipse there. So Sagittarius risings are going to be one of the signs that I think are going to fare pretty well during this turning point. And you might find as you're getting closer to May that you're going to have more of an awareness of what it is that you want. So think about your long-term goals. Think less about being attached to a specific person. How do you want to feel in that relationship? What are you hoping to achieve with this other person? What kind of qualities are you looking for in this other person? And that awareness and that clarity is going to lead you to feeling more confident when it comes to dating, meeting people, and also I think it's going to give you the fulfillment of what you're looking for in terms of a partner. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we have got Alora, Vanessa, and Juliana. And if you guys are just tuning in right now, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to get in the queue, you can scan the QR code to get a reading. All right, so let's take a look at who we have next. So Alora, you are next. And Alora says, 3-card reading. I'm a Cancer rising, Aquarius sun, and Scorpio moon. My birthday's on the 2nd. Well, happy almost birthday. What's coming in my way, career, health, and love-wise? All right, well, you got a 3-card reading, so I'll pull one for each of those. Career, health, and love. Well, let's take a look at what we can tell you right before your birthday. Career, health, and love. All right. So we've got career, career, sorry, health and love. Career, health, love. I always get confused because it's backwards. I'm looking at a screen. All right, so we've got for career 7 of coins coming up. All right, so I think about the 7 of coins and it's like going and spreading your seeds, watching your garden grow, being very particular with where you're spending your time, how you're investing your energy, what your long-term goals are going to be, and how you can achieve the most success. And this is a card that's about reevaluation, deciding like when and where to strike and make changes and make moves. As a Cancer rising, I think about, how you're going to have just a god-awful amount of energy in your 10th house with eclipses and retrogrades. And you're also going to see Saturn and Neptune entering into your 10th house. So it's pretty safe to say it's a pretty significant career turning point for Cancer risings. I think a lot of this is kind of connected to the willingness to put in the work, right? Aries is like literally getting down and dirty, and it can be entrepreneurial. It can be about taking on more responsibility. It can also be about going in a direction career-wise where you're doing something completely new or something that you have never done before. So I would say that it's going to take a lot of planning, hard work, and dedication. But if you're committing yourself to laying out that foundation in 2025, as you see Saturn and Neptune kind of ingress back into Pisces, and then in 2026, it's going to come back into Aries, you might feel like finally your garden is starting to grow, right? So for, what was it? Career, and then health, and then love. So health-wise, you have 10 of Wands, all right? And for me, I think that this is about overcoming challenges. Tens is about wrapping something up and finishing or finalizing something. And obviously, Wands deal with energy. It deals with movement. It's action. And honestly, when this card comes up, it's like you feel exhausted or you feel run down. Tens can mean that you are focusing on some kind of strength training, especially with the Wands, like carrying things, lifting things, picking things up, things revolving around dealing with heaviness, weight can be something else that can come up during this, this particular card. And it's about getting ready to finally release something. So it's like, okay, building up resistance, letting something go. It's also about dedication and the willingness to stick to a program, staying on top of your health goals, making sure that you're also not overworking, overdoing it. 10 of Wands, the risk with this is that if you're pushing it too much and you're not having enough balance between work and your private life, you can find that you're like, I'm taking too much on, and it can feel overwhelming. Sometimes when the Wands come up, it can also talk about managing anything revolving around excess heat or inflammation, or things revolving around like a non-inflammatory diet. And I feel like the 10 of Wands is saying that you're going to be able to accomplish your goals, but you may feel like at some point in the process of focusing on your health, you're like, I'm ready to throw in the towel. And right when you start feeling like that is right when you're about to kind of turn a corner. So you want to make sure that you're not kind of giving up. Obviously, knowing that you're a sun in Aquarius and, Pluto's going through your solar sign, a lot of that Pluto transit is going to be shifts revolving around your psychological health. Jupiter rules your 6th house of health. It's in your 12th house. So it's about finding that balance between work, rest, and playtime. And I feel like it's going to be really beneficial to incorporate mindfulness or visualization practices to kind of help you balance out your emotional health. Not taking too much on, I think, is like the main key here. And then for love life, obviously a card that everybody wants to pull when we're asking questions about love would definitely be the Page of Cups. The Suit of Cups deals with relationships, emotion, romance, and connection. So the page is like a seed, or it's like a brand new blossoming opportunity for relationships. It can be with a water sign, or it can be addressing you personally. So keep an eye out for either Cancers or potentially even Scorpios or Pisces that can kind of pop in. The page is offering you something, right? He's got like a little cap and a hat, and in the hat, in the cup he's offering you, there is a fish. So sometimes that can be symbolic specifically for Pisces, but also it's about being romantic and kind of dreamy and opening yourself up to being receptive to romance, to falling in love again, to getting to know somebody and having like a very innocent, sweet kind of connection. And it can be really built off of that instant attraction, that instant romance that you have. So this would be one of the cards that I would say, yes, it is looking very likely that there's going to be a new relationship opportunity. Specifically, you're going to want to look at what's going on, obviously, with Saturn, because Saturn rules your 7th house as a Cancer rising. Saturn is going to be receiving several conjunctions to Venus in your 9th house in Pisces. So something I have said to all of my Cancer risings is in the spring, right? March, April, maybe even into May, traveling, going and doing some kind of continuing education, going for a certification, being closer to like universities, maybe potentially going and doing a workshop or a training of some kind, because Venus will be meeting with Saturn. So it can kind of open the door to a relationship coming in. Maybe you meet somebody while you're traveling or while they're traveling. That's very possible. And definitely with the North Node and Saturn involved, there's a lot of karmic relationships that are going to be coming up. Some Cancers and Cancer risings will be opting to work with like a love coach, a dating coach, a motivational coach. These people can come into and they can teach you a lot about kind of working with the energies of Pisces and like how to visualize and really connect with a relationship that can be super profound and very spiritual. So look for that happening this spring. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we have got Vanessa and then Juliana. All right, so Vanessa says, hi, I wanted to get clarity on why my boss changed me to a different department within the establishment. She said she saw potential in me and didn't want me to stay stagnant. I want to know if that's true or complete BS. Was this a blessing in disguise, or did she just not like me? Am I going to do well in this new role? Is there anything I need to know or be aware of with my coworkers? I'm not surprised by this, to be honest with you. I'm not surprised at all, because I think for a lot of Cancer risings, there's been some future shift that's coming with their career. I mean, like I was just saying, Saturn and Neptune and all these retrogrades and eclipses in your 10th house. Primarily March and April is going to be that adjustment period to where you're working and being put in a position where you can actually climb the ladder, you can get more responsibility, and you can get more recognition for the job that you're doing. So in that sense, I think it's good. And then also for Virgos as well, Jupiter going, direct in Gemini is supposed to be about a significant change, but that Jupiter direct is in your 12th house. So you're kind of like, is it good? Is it not? So let's see, what can we tell Vanessa, about her changing departments? Did she see potential in her, or was it bullshit? And what does she need to know about making this change? All right, in this order, we've got the Devil, the World, and the Page of Swords. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like, let me move these over a little bit. I feel like the Devil in the previous position is saying that where you were working, that it could have been like you would get stuck there. Like there was almost like this inertia that was like pulling you back in, that was not really going to allow you to move forward. The Devil in the past position is saying like being stuck, being bound, not being able to evolve, stuck in the same patterns, going through the same routine, and feeling like you're never going to free yourself of that. Could this be representation of Saturn, right? Because Saturn's connection with the Devil card, and that, there is something karmic at play that's going on that's really trying to push you out of your comfort zone and into something new. Yeah, I think so. I think also, with the Devil card coming up, it's saying like there could have been lots of challenges and conflicts and things going on in the department that you were in. Maybe she was saving you from that. The Devil in the past position can actually know something that you don't know. And it can be kind of getting you out before they end up kind of turning other people out of that department and giving you the opportunity to go and do something new. So with that behind you and the World card in front of you, I feel like, no, this is a blessing in disguise. You might question whether or not, she liked you or if she didn't want you there or whatever. I don't really see it that way. I feel like there would have been challenges maintaining that position and maybe dealing with changes that was going to be happening with other employees and leadership, and you were able to kind of escape. The World card coming up in the current position is basically saying you've completed a level, right? Or you have served your term, you don't need to be there any longer. You've learned your lessons. It's time for you to evolve and move on. Interesting that we're getting the World card a lot. I feel like we're going to get that a lot over the next month or two because, well, all these planets are in the late degrees of Pisces. So we are wrapping things up. We're completing these karmic lessons. We're moving on to something new. So with the World card being here, it's basically saying you're getting the green light. I think that not only are you moving into something that you're going to enjoy more, but there's going to be other opportunities for you to be able to get the recognition you deserve, maybe feel like some of your goals and professional goals and other things are being fulfilled. And the World card can also talk about your experience, and that because you've had experiences and things in other departments working for the same company, now potentially you're going to be moving on and you'll be able to take that experience and you'll be able to kind of lead and really shine and be able to get a lot of stuff done. So I think it's a good move, honestly. Page of Swords is coming up as the final position. So, on one hand, you were saying, well, what do I need to be aware of? Page of Swords can be an air sign, so it can be a Gemini or a Libra or an Aquarius that's coming in. It is possible that this is really enhancing the need for you to communicate well and to be able to take risks and kind of put yourself out there and engage with these new employees that you're going to be working side by side with. Maybe there's going to be more documents or processing, paperwork or things revolving around registering things or having meetings, calling people. There's going to be an emphasis in boosting your communication with your team and also putting you in a position of learning to speak up and to lead or take the initiative in some way. The only thing you want to watch for with the Page of Swords is it is a kid that's running around with a sword, so it's be mindful of what you say, be mindful of how you communicate, how you're communicating with your new boss or how you're communicating with your new team. I do feel like this is a card that's also about learning because pages can kind of symbolize training or undergoing some kind of significant turning point where they have to learn new skills, they have to learn new programs, maybe you're having to learn new systems and how to implement that in this new position. So take your time. I would ask a lot of questions. I feel like the page is very curious. So if there's something you don't understand, don't just try to wing it. Ask questions, communicate with the other people who you're working with, and it's really going to, I think, help you improve when it comes to your inter-office personal skills. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we have got Juliana and then Alana. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Dorothy. You were the first one. I pulled yours first. It's up there for you. All right, so Juliana's back. She says, I'm just wondering about love and work. I'm super indecisive. All right, well, let's take a look about love and work for you. And so what I'll do is the first card will be about love. The middle card is going to be the confirmation, and the third card is going to be about work. Okay, so we'll do love, confirmation, and then work. Thanks for swinging back around. All right, so this is going to be for work. You get the Queen of Cups. Confirmation card is the Hermit. And then we've got for love, the Four of Wands. Hey, these are some pretty good cards, girl. So let's start with the middle first, okay? So if you ask two questions, I've got a confirmation card, which would be the Hermit. So the Hermit card is pause, reflect, right? Integration, you know, spending time alone to really ask yourself, does this make me happy? Do I enjoy this? Is this working? What have I been thinking about for a while? Personally, when I pull the Hermit card, I always ask myself, like, what's been on my mind? Like, what have I been thinking about or marinating on that I haven't been talking about? That in my heart of hearts, intuitively, I already know what direction I should be going in. It's also a card that's about examining something deeper, right? He's shining a light on something. So it's about shining a light on the things that we don't want to look at, the things we don't want to acknowledge, maybe the things we're afraid to talk about. So, you know, the Hermit card can also be an indication of the up and coming eclipse that's going to be in Virgo. This is going to be an interesting one because when this eclipse happens, you're going to see the ruler Mercury starting to turn retrograde in Aries. So I think for everybody, it's going to be this reckoning point where it's going to be like, what hasn't been working for me? And like, how can I get out of my own way? And how can I be more assertive? Or how can I rework something about my goals or my work or my habit? So you might want to look at where Virgo is in your chart. But this being the confirmation card saying, go and do the work, reflect internally, ask yourself if you really feel like it's time to make a change, maybe what you've been ignoring and what you have been afraid to take some kind of action or initiative on. Now, for the work, we've got Queen of Cups, which is interesting because this is a card that has a suit that's associated with romance and relationships and intuition and emotions, but this is about you kind of getting to a point where you need to feel better or you need to feel more fulfilled or you need to feel emotionally more so engaged with the work that you're doing. And this can mean that you're shining a light. Literally, he's looking at work. So that's kind of prioritized in this spread. Saying like, you know, how are you feeling about the job that you're doing? Do you not like what you're doing? Do you feel like you're emotionally drained? Is there something that you feel like your gut is telling you that would be a better direction? Is there some kind of mentorship or support that you're getting from somebody? You know, queens can sometimes be women who are a little bit older than you. It can be a water sign. So Cancers, Pisces, Scorpios can kind of come into the mix. But it can also be about you tapping in, being like, you know what, emotionally, I wish I could do something more along these lines, or I need to have a schedule or, you know, a work environment that feels like it's going to be more conducive to my emotions. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like, if you're feeling like work's taking a toll on you and you need to make a change, intuitively with the Queen of Cups, it might be that turning point where you're like, yeah, it's not worth continuing to kind of feel like my mental health or my emotional health is suffering or my relationships are suffering because I'm not prioritizing that. And this can also be about navigating your career using your intuition. If you feel like you're at the right place at the right time to make a move, apply to something, switch jobs, switch departments, you know, go back to school. The Queen of Cups is a great card. It's saying that you're nurturing that and you're wanting to really focus on nurturing a career, not just having a job, watching something grow. Queens are all about being able to bring life to something, and really it says that there's like a lot of love and nurturing that's going to be needed in order to kind of make this shift. Now, in regards to relationships, you have the Four of Wands, which I think is like one of the better cards, to be honest with you. This is a marriage card, truth be told. Obviously, if it comes up with other cards, if it comes up with the Hierophant or maybe sometimes the Lovers. But in general, the Four of Wands is a card that's talking about celebrations, parties, gatherings, get-togethers. If you're invited to something, go. If you have something that you're wanting to celebrate, some kind of accomplishment, go out and do something. You're going to end up meeting somebody where there is going to be some kind of social situation. You're out with friends or something like that. That's likely going to lead to a relationship. The Four of Wands is also talking about being in the moment, right? This is a card of like temporary passing situations. So it's not putting the cart before the horse and being like, oh, I need to find a long-term partner in a relationship. It's like, no, I'd like to find somebody who's going to be able to kind of complement my life and somebody who I can go out and do things with on my free time and have fun and have experiences and, you know, go out of town, go to concerts, that kind of stuff. It wants you to start almost like going out and doing the things that you would like to be doing with a romantic partner and putting yourself in that situation where you're in the environment where you're going to end up, you know, meeting somebody that's going to do the things that you want to do. Look for increments of 4, could be 4 weeks, 4 months. But I would say if there's anything going on outside, this is usually like fairs or if there's like events outside or if there's like a performance that's coming into town or if there's a party that's going on. These are things that you want to be at because it's going to really increase the likelihood that you're going to end up finding a match. And honestly, this is a card that's about bliss. So at the very least, this could end up being some kind of like whirlwind summer romance and you're like, whoa, what are we doing? You know? Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Thanks for circling back. Keep me updated on how that manifests for you. And we have got Alana and Stacy. And then Vanessa again. I just saw your other one. And if you guys are tuning in, you can still scan the QR code if you want to get a reading. All right, so we have got, let's see, Alana. What's up, Alana? You're welcome. The guy I was seeing in Portland and I just broke up and I've only been in Denver for 3 weeks and I'm feeling kind of bummed and lonely. Not sure how to pull myself out of it. Well, I am sorry to hear that. Looks like you're getting the brunt of your Saturn-Venus transit in your 7th. Part of me feels inclined to tell you that that storyline is not yet over, right? So like, you know, when Venus meets Saturn, there is a boundary that's created in a relationship of some kind, even if it's an ending. And then when we see Venus coming into conjunction with the North Node in Neptune, people vanish, right? Or they're not thinking so clearly, or they need space, or they're confused. And Venus is going to retrograde back through there in March. Now, personally, I've seen more so than not that this is a transit that begins with the ending of a relationship and it's creating and making space for somebody else to come in because people leave and people come in when you see retrogrades. And when Mercury is involved, especially, it's going to represent it being a turning point where it's like kind of going from one person to another. Just some food for thought. So you have got great cards. It's interesting because these are like a lot of earthy cards. So was this person, was he a Capricorn? Was he a Virgo? I don't know. I'm wondering if he's an earth sign. I'm asking because I got the King of Coins. So in the first position, you have 3 of Coins, which is interesting in a relationship sense because it's not very relational. Working together, putting in the work, you know, focusing on what you're building, where you're going, what you're doing. So maybe you moved. He says, hey, I'll come and visit you. We can still go back and forth. We can make this work. And in a way, you know, in the past position, it makes me feel like there was like a lot of room here for this to actually be like the potential that you guys were going to go back and forth and try to figure out how you could do this. But what's interesting is like 3s can represent a third party. And I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about like you're going through the motions with this guy, trying to make it work. And, you know, he has a change of heart or he's like, hey, I can't be here. And it can represent this third party coming in that's going to fill in the blank. Or somebody who's supporting you right at your time of need. It's always funny. I always see change happen in 3s. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I've been reading tarot and astrology long enough to talk to enough people to be like, somebody goes, yeah, I just lost my job and, you know, my boyfriend broke up with me and, you know, I'm like, okay, great. Well, get ready to move, you know, or something else is going to happen. So you moved. Obviously, there's this job opportunity. The relationship, you know, has ended. But something else is coming in. Okay, so there's another change coming. So watch for it, especially in March and April. King of Coins, or King of Pentacles. This is generally usually an earth sign. I really associate this more with Taurus, especially because, you know, you see like all the rich clothing and you see the bulls on his chair, and you know, this could be a Capricorn or a Virgo. It can represent also you as a Virgo rising and being somebody who's like, I'm gonna boss up. Like I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna handle it. Like maybe to some extent, you know, with the suit of coins, there is this sense of going through things and like being more logical and kind of practical and like less emotional. This could mean that you're like, this is bumming me out, but I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on. You know, work is taking off. I have to be focusing on kind of providing for myself. And there is this sense of you bouncing back, and not just bouncing back, but coming back from this stronger. And maybe looking at this situation as a blessing in disguise, where you're like, you know what, it made me realize I need to choose me, or I need to prioritize me, or be investing in me, because I'm not really feeling like I was getting what I needed from this other person. And you could have felt like it was starting to become transactional. Like that is one of the downsides of pulling, you know, pentacles during a romantic reading, because pentacles are very much about exchange and going through the motions. So I feel like, you know, the Three of Coins coming up and the King of Coins, it's like you going like, man, I was really trying hard to make this work, but I realized like I need to be focusing on myself. Like if that's not working, or if I'm putting in a lot, I'm not getting the same in return, somebody else is going to come in, they're going to fill in the blank. But until then, I have to be able to kind of hold it down for myself. And like, you will be fine. There is going to be a sense of like a real kind of glow up that's going to happen here. Nine of Cups, which is about wish fulfillment, getting what it is that you want. And so honestly, you know, usually this is a question that I get asked, well, why isn't the person showed up, or why are they breaking up with me, or why did the job end? And I always remind people like, what are you wishing for? Like, what is it that you want, right? What do you want? What have you been kind of really thinking and kind of marinating on? Because Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. Whatever you're asking for, you're going to get. Be careful asking to go back though, right? Because the Nine of Cups being here as compared to in the beginning, it would have been like, well, I still want to make it work with him. But this being at the end, it's kind of like going like, actually, I'm okay with this. This frees up some stuff for me. It gives me the opportunity to see who else is out there. This actually makes me happy that I'm moving away from this particular kind of connection. It can mean it's also like inspiring you to like want to go and see who else is out there, or to have fun and like kind of play the field a little bit. You may not be there right now, but I think that for a lot of Virgo risings with the eclipses and the retrogrades, if you can avoid the temptation to reach back out to people, because I think with Mercury retrograde in your 7th, a lot of Virgo risings will, you're going to be able to be like, okay, if I hold my own, he's either going to come back around and then I'm going to have a say in the matter, or I'm going to have a lot of happiness and opportunities to see what else is out there. So I don't really see you coming out of this feeling down or feeling blue for an extended period of time. You know, maybe you're going to see within about 9 weeks time, there's like a total shift and you're like, yeah, actually this happened, you know, and this is the best thing that could have happened. Or that there is several weeks apart, not really communicating, connecting. Somebody can show up and boss up in a way, but I feel like you're going to be harder to kind of reel back in or convince, because you're going to be like, I've been good. I've been dealing with all these changes and I've been super focused on me. Like, I'm not going to let myself kind of get lost in the shift in this relationship. So I think that you're going to be a lot happier leaving the relationship, to be honest with you, just looking at the cards, because I do feel like it's creating space for somebody better and more on your level. And I would embrace whatever this third change is that's going to be coming in. Okay? Good luck. Let me know. How are you liking living there? I know you just moved. All right, so we have Stacy and then Chelsea. Just playing catch up here. Stacy and Chelsea and Vanessa. All right, let's see what Stacy says. I don't think my Libra soulmate is ready to settle down. Is there a new person coming for me? A Pisces, Libra rising that's ready for love. Libra risings, those are definitely the ones that are going to kind of get caught in the crosshairs with some of the transits the next month or so, especially in March. You can see like with the solar eclipse in the 7th house for Libra rising, new relationship opportunities, but it's about breaking apart with existing ones because it's going to square Mars in Cancer in your 10th. Let's see, what can we tell Stacy? Is there somebody new coming in if this Libra soulmate is not ready to settle? Could definitely see with the retrograde somebody returning. Just food for thought. Oh, look at all these swords. I feel like I just got stabbed. All right, here's the deal. To be honest with you, to me, it looks like there's a lot of unresolved stuff. So in theory, it's like, okay, they're not ready for me. I'm going to move forward. What am I doing? Right. And like, that's pretty bang on, I think, with Pisces as well, right? Saturn and Neptune are in their sign. South node eclipse going through the 7th house to their sun. I mean, a lot of, Pisces are going to be like, I don't know what I want. Partners are going to be like, peace, I'm out. So pretty much matches up, but I feel like the cards aren't really saying like, yeah, just move on, you're going to find another person. The cards are actually kind of saying like, there is something that is difficult to move on from in regards to this person right now. 5 of Swords is, maybe you feel like you're beating your head against the wall, going through the same conversations over and over and over with this person. There's conflict because what you want, they don't want, or they're not really willing to kind of show up and like have this chat with you about where their head is at. And like, you're getting frustrated, right? 5 of Swords is annoyed because, you see people throwing their weapons down and walking away. So you might feel like they're throwing in the towel. They're not fighting for you. They're not communicating with you very well. And that's where you've been. In the current position, you have 7 of Swords, which makes me feel like, to be honest with you, if this is a question that you're asking about whether or not you're going to find someone, the 7 of Swords can be a bit kind of double-sided. On one hand, it could be a warning that's saying, be careful what you ask for. That you may feel like it's really difficult to move away from this person. And then the 7 of Swords comes up and it's like, you're like, yeah, I'm done, I can move on. And then it's like, boom, the universe places somebody in your life and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I need to go back. Like, or if I move on, are they gonna forget about me? Like there can be some, there could be some tension revolving around really moving forward, right? Because this card, if you notice, he's got 5 swords in his hand and he's walking away, but he's looking back at the 2 of Swords. So it's referencing some indecisiveness, whether or not you're making the right decision or, having one foot in and one foot out. This can also be a warning that's about honesty and transparency, okay? And issues revolving around moving on quickly with somebody, not telling that somebody that you might still have feelings or emotions kind of attached to another person, presenting yourself as, yes, I'm ready, I want love, let's go, when in reality, there's part of you that's still looking back. It could also be talking about honesty and transparency in regards to future relationships and partnerships. This is a card that comes up revolving around dishonesty or somebody who's a little tricky or, maybe not being entirely too forthcoming and direct with you or transparent. So it's kind of saying like, look, what you put out there is what you're going to get. And I would say this to any Libra rising, okay? Saturn's going into your 7th house. That means that you got a new devil to dance with. Now you are dealing with relationship karma and you'll get through it, but you're going to see with Saturn in your 7th house in Aries where partners are not maturing, taking responsibility. They're not clear about what they want. Maybe they're feeling like they need some more alone time or they need more independence. And that could be very easily kind of misconstrued for not being interested because they may not be as aware, right? Awareness is something that Aries lacks, especially with Saturn and Neptune going into that sign. And then you're going to have retrogrades there. So I kind of feel like you might see that there's like a turning point where it's like, yeah, there's new people coming in, but do I need to kind of like shore up the past? And that's why I think the retrogrades are happening from Aries to Pisces. Pisces, we complete things. We release and let things go. Aries, we start new things. I think with these cards, you're better off using March, February, March into April as that closure period and really making sure you know what you want and not just like, oh, they don't want me, so I'm going to find something else until they're ready. No. If you really believe that you guys are soulmates, then what you will find is that it doesn't really matter what happens in the in-between, whether you're seeing somebody, they're seeing somebody. If you guys are meant to be, you're meant to be, and you guys will get on the path and you'll find each other again. But I feel like moving forward without dealing with the emotional side of this and like being real with yourself and not lying to yourself, right? 7 of Swords. It's important for you to really make sure that you have healed so you're not hurting somebody else, right? Or so you're not getting played because unfortunately the karma of the 7th house Saturn is if you're not being honest with yourself, if you're not being forthcoming, if you haven't really cut ties with the past, guess what's going to happen? The 7th house is a mirror. You are going to bring somebody in who's doing the same shit. And they're going to be like, well, I was with this girl, but I don't know, but we're separate and I'm in love with her, but she's not ready. And you're going to be like, what the fuck? And it's going to be the same thing that you're doing that will become projected to you. And I'm not badgering you. I'm just being honest, especially with this 10 of Swords coming up. Okay. So there's a progression here. 5, 7, 10, where there has been challenges in terms of connecting, especially on the heart space, where you're kind of doubting whether or not, you know, they're in it, they're not in it. Maybe I should just move on. And then it's like, boom, nope, that's going to be a dead end because you're going to repeat the same patterns, right? So the 10 of Swords is about like disappointment, getting hurt, feeling stabbed in the back. Like, this is me giving you that warning that if you haven't fully dealt with all of that stuff, it's going to come back in another way. Even if it's not in the form of the original relationship, it will come back through someone else. I love him, but he doesn't want a relationship, single and heartbroken, even though we recently made up, but that's it. I mean, you know, to be frank with you, the Saturn transit is going to be, I think, a rude awakening for a lot of Virgo and Libra risings, because you're going to see Saturn and Neptune aligning with Mercury and Venus, which means people are having confusion with matters of the heart and also, you know, the mind. I feel like if this were me, given some of your astrological transits, you're better off waiting to try to initiate something after the solar eclipse. So like once you're getting into, you know, April, maybe even the end of April, you'll start to see some clarity and things can improve. But this is telling me that you don't have closure. And, you know, not being held hostage by this person, I think, is the theme as well. Rather than being like, I'm going to sneak off and have something until they're ready. No, that's not how it works. You can't put yourself on back burner, and also you're not fully giving somebody else a chance. Right? If you know that you're just killing time until that person comes around, that's going to be showing them that, you know, you're ready when they're ready and that you're putting your life on hold for them when you could find somebody else who won't do that. Right? Save yourself a lot of like the heartbreak, I feel like, in trying to pursue something too quickly. And certainly, you know, the second half of April can be a lot better in progress when it comes to relationships down the road. I hope that helps. Hang in there. That's going to be some tricky astrology for my Libra risings. As 0 degree Libra rising, I'm not looking forward to I'm looking forward to March and April. I don't think it's going to be all that pleasant. All right, so I've got Vanessa, Chelsea, and Brandon. If you guys are still tuning in, you can still get in the queue, scan the QR code, send me your questions. I'm happy to help. Vanessa has another question. She says, hi, my kiddo has a question. What's up, kiddo? Capricorn, Sun, Aquarius, Moon. She would like to know if she should stay at her current school, it's a private school, or is it time for a change? Possibly moving to a public school if you think that's best for her to move. When should we do it? She would also like to know, is now the time to get a job? Would she have a good school life balance, or is it strictly focused on her studies? Let's take a look. All right, so this is for the kiddo. What it looks like in terms of changing schools, is now the time, and can she balance work with that? Well, certainly the Death card is a big fat yes, time for change. Confirmation card on the bottom of the deck would be the Page of Swords, so a change with education. Swords deals with intellect, information, communication. I feel like really, in my mind, this is about being like, let's deal with the change in regards to school first. Before you start being like, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to change schools, I'm going to do this. Like the Death card is saying there's going to be some pretty significant change on the horizon. Particularly for her when it comes to like socializing, meeting friends, like connecting with people, like kind of getting established in a school and getting into the routine. And then if you want to make some changes and, you know, potentially kind of lean more so into being able to do like work and stuff, I think that that's something that will come. If I remember correctly, I know you said she's a Capricorn, Sun and Aquarius Moon, but I believe she is, I think she's a Capricorn rising too, if I remember correctly. So, you know, Jupiter is squaring Saturn then. Jupiter in her 6th house of work, squaring Saturn in the 3rd of education. Probably, I would say maybe summertime if that's something that you want to do that. But it's about kind of really getting situated and set up with this change. And like, maybe it's just me, I like the Death card. I think the Death card coming up is saying like, yeah, it's definitely time for a change. And it may be quite a dramatic change, especially when it comes to, you know, just, I think kind of like, getting acclimated in a new school and meeting people and getting to know people and socializing. I think that she's going to want to get kind of grounded first, and then she can kind of segue into being able to do work. Certainly for Capricorn risings, there's going to be lots of opportunities, I would say, June for work. And then you're also going to see some transits that are going to be happening down the road in the fall. So as you get closer to September and October. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Trying to think of which of the 100 problems I should ask about. That's funny. All right, we've got Chelsea and then Brandon and Jennifer. All right, so let's see what Chelsea has to say. She says, Virgo, Sun, Aries, Moon, Scorpio, Rising. All right, so you got Scorpio Rising, Moon the 6th, and your Virgo Sun in the 11th, whole sign. I don't know what degrees. How long until I meet someone compatible and have a happy, loving, and stable relationship? Will I continue to work at my current employment location or relocate? If relocating, what time frame? Is there something going on that I need to be, is there something going on behind my back that needs to be aware of? All right, so I'll do relationship, confirmation card, and then work card for you. So this is relationship, confirmation card. You guys notice the patterns that are coming up? You know, I've been reading tarot for a very long time, more than half my life. And something that always intrigues me is when I'm doing live readings or when I'm doing readings for groups of people and the same cards are coming up, I'm like, all right, there's definitely something in the air. So we've seen a lot of 9 of Cups for people, you know, ultimately getting what you want, feeling fulfilled. We've seen a lot of the World card, completions and karmas and cycles coming through, and then the Full card, which is about new beginnings. So it's kind of crazy to kind of see this. So the confirmation card in the center obviously is the World card. So this is talking about like completing things and like really realizing what you do want and what you're ready to kind of put to an end to, and like where you're ready to start something new. What I do think is cool is with the 9 of Coins coming up for anything in regards to relationships, it's like, yes, there's definitely something that is coming. I think that Scorpio risings are going to fare very well during, I think Scorpio and Sag risings will fare well during the springtime. To be a Scorpio rising and have your 7th house Lord retrograde in the 5th is about true love. It is about what you're meant, or who you're meant to find, what you fall in love with, what you enjoy doing, you know, how to have more romance and how to be serious when it comes to matters of the heart. So the more that you're focusing on your goals and in a weird way, maybe even like celebrating and being like, they're already here and this is what we're going to do. And like, it sounds crazy, but like Pisces is a little Looney Tunes. So when you have Pisces in your 5th house, you have to start romanticizing the idea of your life and what you're doing and how you're connecting with people. And like, it's about getting into that vibe of believing it before it actually manifests and before you see it in real life. So focus on your goals and what you're hoping for relationships. It looks like you're going to have some fulfillment there for sure with the 9 of Cups. That is like the guaranteed you're going to get what you want. Increments of 9, but in particular, I would say March through May is going to be really strong for my Scorpio risings, and Uranus is going to leave Taurus this year briefly as well. So that'll bring some stability to relationships. And that is one cycle ending and another one that's going to be getting with the World card coming up. Full card in regards to work, new opportunities, right? Or being like, okay, am I really about to go and do this new thing? So if you're thinking about maybe like making changes, you know, revolving around work, I mean, it says that, will I continue to work at my current employment location or relocate? To me, this seems like more relocation. The Full card can actually be talking about the real turn of the year. And as a Scorpio rising, you know, you got an eclipse in your 6th house. You're going to have retrogrades in your 6th house. I mean, that screams possibly a change with your work and your location and starting a new schedule. So my thought is probably sometime revolving around, I would say like the end of March through about June is when you're likely going to see some of these changes that are going to be kind of taking shape. Look at transits that are happening to your sun as well. So if you look at those transits, that's also going to give you an indication because the sun rules your 10th house. So if you're a Virgo sun, you're going to have a lunar eclipse on your sun, and then you're going to see a retrograde and another eclipse that's going to happen in your 9th. To me, that tells me that employees are getting redistributed. There's new departments coming up. There's people that are going to be moving to new locations. There's going to be new schedules. And I think you're going to be like in the midst of that basically in April. But it's exciting, right? The Fool card doesn't make me feel like you're necessarily leaving. You're like, yes, let's lean into it. This could be a good change. You know, I'm open to this. And I really feel like the Fool card is about a fresh start. So it's about, you know, really embracing working in a new location with new people, taking on a new schedule, having new responsibilities, that it could be something that could really be good for you. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Chelsea. Dorothy, are you going to have a few Venus returns? What degree is your Venus? Because if you have Venus between like 0 and, between 0 and like 10 degrees, you're going to have several Venus returns. All right, we got Brandon, we got Jennifer, we've got Venus in Leo. That's a cool name. And we've got Stephanie. All right, so let's see what Brandon has to say. Judy, are you Venus in Leo? I'm going to assume because you got Leo rising. Maybe. We'll see. All right, so we're going to take Brandon. What's up, Brandon? Hello, what can I expect to happen in my life over the course of this year? All right, well, let's see if we can find one card that can sum up the course of this year for you, Mr. Brandon. What can we tell him? This one. Ooh, I like this. Page of Wands confirmed with the Knight of Wands. So this would be an evolution. Page of Wands makes me feel like this is about excitement, new opportunities, ideas that are stirring, things that can be more entrepreneurial. It can also be about traveling and seeing people and places and being a little bit more adventurous in where you may potentially call home. There can be support that can be coming from fire signs. So watch from support that's coming from Aries and Leos as well as Sagittariuses. Obviously, you know, you got a lot of planets going into Aries, so it's going to be about kind of taking on a much more kind of daring, independent kind of persona, figuring out who you are and what it is exactly that you want to do. And like, I think a lot of it can be connected to career related things. You know, wands come up where we feel like that inspiration and that excitement or that, you know, thrill of going in a different direction or going after something that we're passionate about. And it looks like it starts off the year with you being like, okay, what do I want to do more of? Where do I want to go? What do I want to see? And it evolves into being like, oh, I can do what I'm doing and be on the road, right? These are very mobile cards, especially the Knight of Wands. This can mean that you're also, you know, chasing after something. You're going after something that feels very exciting. This can be opportunities for you to create, connect, and collaborate with other like-minded individuals. It can mean that there is like a partnership brewing that's going to be specifically on, you know, career-related matters. And you might start seeing that stuff coming up during the fire months. That's when there's going to be the most activity for you. I think about like, you know, Mars retrograde in your 5th. I think about Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde in your 1st. There is like this sense of like defining yourself in a different way now. And whether that's like how you look or what your goals are or, you know, what you're hoping to achieve this year. I think a lot of like Aries placements and Aries risings are going to be really focused on how can I work for myself, or how can I make work for me, or how can I still have spontaneity and freedom and like still be able to feel like I can, you know, have like a job or a career. So some of those opportunities are going to start presenting themselves to you this year. And I think a lot of it's going to be connected to where you're going and the people that you're meeting. That's going to help you feel more inspired and likely to be able to see some of this stuff through. Take a chance. That's what I would say. Take a chance if you've got Page of Wands. Look for help from your fire friends. So let's take a look. Who else have we got? We've got Jennifer, Venus and Leo, Stephanie. If you guys want to scan the QR code, we can still take some more people tonight. 100%, especially with the confirmation card being the Knight of Wands. It's going to be about being on the road and going places. All right, what's up, Jennifer? Will the capital investment be confirmed and secured? 3/13/62. Well, let's take a look. Big things are happening for my Pisces when it comes to money. They're waiting for some kind of pullout or some kind of payout or something that is going to be fulfilled, especially in March. After delays, challenges, and setbacks, let's see, is she going to swing it? All right, so I got 3 cards for you and a confirmation card. We've got the 3 of Swords, the Four of Swords, the Ten of Swords, confirmation card, Six of Coins. Funny how that works. I feel like this has been like a disappointing journey or a challenge where it's almost like you make 2 steps forward and 1 step back, right? Three of Swords can be talking about, you know, challenges, disappointment, feeling like you're left holding the bag emotionally, being like, oh, is this ever going to go through? And that's what you're moving away from. 10 of Swords being at the end makes me feel like there is a conclusion or a completion coming, but the one thing that you need to be really mindful and really careful about is whether or not you feel like you've got people on your side who are going to support you. I mean, you know, the 10 of Swords is kind of like, oh, getting stabbed in the back. Like, I didn't see that coming, or I didn't think that person was going to say that or do that, or I thought I was going to have somebody's support. And people might actually take you by surprise, okay? If I remember correctly, you're having some of these retrogrades and stuff in your 7th house as well. 7th house is your marketplace. It's how you do business with other people. Venus deals more with money that's owed to you from others. So part of the Venus retrograde is, what are you putting into situations, whether it's work-wise or in regards to professional relationships, if it's romantic relationships, financial situations, and what are you getting out of it, right? Or what is somebody telling you they're going to give you, and what are you actually supposed to be getting? I think with the Four of Swords, it's kind of like looking at the situation being like, I've done everything I can do. I've started the process, I've made the connections, I've signed the papers, I've had the meetings, you know, we put it all out there, and now we wait. And it looks like there is going to be a waiting period, especially over like the next 4 weeks. So you're asking, will the capital be confirmed and secured? I don't know what your time frame is, but it's looking like right around 4 weeks, you're going to start to kind of go, okay, you know, I can't do anything more other than just wait. 10 of Swords is generally not a good outcome card. And sometimes the 10s can represent, you finally get to a point where you're like, okay, if this doesn't happen, well, then we're moving on to plan B. Or if we don't get the investment, we're going to be kind of cutting somebody from the project. Or if they don't show up and fulfill, you know, their agreement, then we're going to be kind of ceasing our interactions or our investments with them. What's interesting is that the 10 of Swords does, I pulled a confirmation card before I even looked at it. And I thought that the confirmation card was going to give me more clarity as to why whatever the ending or whatever the completion card was going to be. So it's almost like where there is a hang up or a challenge or somebody that doesn't come through, there is a trade-off. It's like, okay, well, they can't do it, but this company can, or they can't do it right now. They can put X amount up now. And, you know, if they give us that, then we can work with that. So it's not going to be like a total failure. There may be a bit of like a negotiation that has to go on in regards to, you know, receiving the total amount. 6 of coins is not a bad card. This is a card that talks about, you know, giving and receiving. So it might mean that they go, well, we can't do it all right now. And I would say, don't completely write somebody off because of that. If they say they can come up with a specific amount that they can kind of pay towards the project or something they could put down, you know, in good faith that they're going to fulfill the other portion of the payment, like you can work with that. There is going to be something that you can work with. Negotiation is going to be key here, you know, and also making sure that you really trust and know who you're doing business with. All of these swords make me feel like if it's going to be somebody who's going to kind of send you down the path of constantly questioning or waiting or, you know, not getting a lot of clarity, ask yourself, are you going to feel good about doing business with a company or with a person who's making an investment who is not really making you feel like they're being a team player, right? It can get down to the end and they're going to be like, well, we can't do it. And I would be like, all right, cool. And they might be like, well, wait a second, hold on, let's make a deal. Like they might be playing chicken with you, you know, to see just realistically how much more time they can buy, you know, what they can kind of talk you down to, what they can negotiate with you. And I think there is a way to negotiate to find a win-win, but to me, it looks like there's a lot of waiting on pins and needles for this to go through. And if you feel like it does not happen, you're going to be like, well, what are we going to do? Trust me, there's going to be something else. Like there's going to be something else or someone else that's going to come through who will want to take this opportunity. And I think we'll be thankful and happy to be able to work with you, even if the other one is not as clear or readily available. Be open to negotiation, I would say. Whatever your target date is, a lot of the retrograde in your 8th house in the solar eclipse is going to be about being like, okay, I'm finally receiving what I'm owed. So if they've already agreed to things, it might be that period of payback and then, you know, returning to you, but they're going to try to negotiate in some way. So I would say be flexible so you can still maintain the job if this is who you want to work with. Hopefully that's helpful. Thank you for your generosity. Let's see, who else do we have here? So we've got, after Jennifer, we've got Venus and Leo. We have got Stephanie. We've got David that popped in there. Yeah, I've seen a couple gnarly hands so far with all those swords, huh? All right, so we got Venus and Leo. What's up, Venus and Leo? Go read this is for Judy. My question is about the two lovers I can't decide on. I'm a Leo rising. Oh my God, scandalous. I bet you're loving that Mars-Pluto opposition, huh? It's like, where can I be a little sneaky? Which one do I want? Which one's gonna change? Which one's gonna be too much of a pain in the ass? Let's see what we can tell Judy about, well, which one, okay? So question for you before I even pull a card. What are the signs, because I don't want to assign somebody to a specific card. What are the signs that you're dealing with? And P.S., this is going to go back and forth until April, okay? Until Mars comes out of opposition with Pluto. So, especially like I think about like Mars having that connection and that association with either somebody from the past or somebody who might travel a lot or be further away, or there can be some like back and forth between two places because it can represent like a distance or like traveling. Okay, Eric is an Aquarius sun, Libra moon, Virgo rising. So he's been run through. All right. So, I mean, the Virgo rising thing's playing out to a T for that one, huh? Venus retrograde, North Node Neptune eclipses in his 7th. Somebody's not sure what they want. Oh, Eric, he doesn't even know. And then Rich is a Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon, Cancer rising. I kind of like that combo. Cancer rising is obviously really sensitive, but with the Scorpio sun in the 5th, yes, Capricorn moon, but Capricorn moon in the 7th. That's a lot of water and earth for you, for Venus and Leo. Okay, so we're dealing with an Aquarius and we're dealing with a Scorpio. So which way is it going to go for Venus and Leo? What can we tell them? Oh, okay, so we're walking away from someone. Well, I mean, dare I say, in some cases it's not A or B, sometimes it's C. Okay, so it's not giving me a clear answer in terms of which one, but I am going to tell you something about this. Like, you are going to 100% walk away from one of them. That is going to happen. And it's not like you can't continue to do the back and forth. You can. But with the 8 of Cups coming up, you know, one thing I will say is that that does have a connection and a correlation specifically with Scorpio, right? So my guess would be, you know, that you're potentially being like, whoa, these waters are too deep, or there's too much going on here emotionally with this one. Like, it's great, but like it's too much for me. I think of like a Leo, you know, Venus and Leo, Leo rising, whatever, Leo sun. Like, you got an Aquarius with a Libra moon. That is going to be more compatible in theory with some of your placements. And I'm not just saying that. Literally, I think the 8 of Cups is like, you're going to walk away from somebody, but it could be because you're like, they're too stuck on the past emotionally, or it's too emotionally like heavy, or it's like, I feel like I'm not having enough time for the romance and the back and the forth and like being able to have something that's exciting. And then that confirmation card for the 3 of Wands coming up is saying that you're also still going to kind of be like, I don't have to pick just one of these two. I can still see what else is open, you know, what else is out there. And potentially saying like, also, you know, before I make this decision, I need to get to know them better. Like, 3 of Wands might be like, okay, I'm going to go on a trip with them. I'm going to spend a weekend with them. I'm going to kind of go back and forth and be like, what are the pros and cons? And realistically, is one of them worth fully walking away from the other one? And if you feel very much committed to that, you will. The Virgo rising is definitely going through a turning point where, you know, be careful, because if somebody's been less than transparent with the Virgo rising, they're going to find out about it, or that person's going to go MIA for a little bit, and then they're going to come back. So that could be you. And then I think about the Scorpio sun, Cancer rising, you know, they are also going to start seeing that there's major transits in their 10th house, which is about having a much more serious kind of committed public relationship. So like, they're on the path for that basically over like the next like 6 months. I think the Scorpio might be a little too heavy, to be honest with you, and that you might end up like kind of walking away. But you're going to kind of feel it out first before you make a decision. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Certainly Capricorn and Scorpio, not the easiest combination if you got a lot of Leo in your chart. But, you know, some people like that. That's definitely major daddy placements. I've got Stephanie and then David. Stephanie says, what's something that's coming for me this year? Pisces moon and rising with a Cancer sun. All right, well, let's take a look. So what is coming for Stephanie this year? A lot of water. Pisces rising, that's so interesting to have like the Mars retrograde over your sun in the 5th house. That's supposed to be about being like super creative and focusing on dating or children. But with Saturn and Neptune in your sign, you're probably like, what do I want? Lots of clarity coming for those planets going direct though by the time you get to April. All right, so what's going to be coming for Stephanie this year? In this order, we've got the 8 of Swords, the 7 of Swords, the High Priestess. What's up with all these swords tonight, guys? I feel like a lot of people are like on pins and needles. They're like, what's going to happen? Like more than usual. I don't know if you guys are feeling that, but so even, I mean, I've talked to some of my friends even who are like readers and stuff, and a lot of people are like, are you guys getting the vibe that there are some things we're not being shown intentionally? I'm like, for sure. Or that things are intentionally kind of like confusing because things are wrapping up right now. So 8 of Swords in the past position. Look, you got to pull this card. You're going to want to have it in the past, right? So this for me kind of feels like maybe in recent year you have felt stuck. Afraid to make change, feeling like there's been excuses or reasons why you haven't proceeded forward and stuff, or maybe there's been some fears in addressing issues and like kind of getting out of situations where you feel like you're stuck. What I like about this card is it's all mental. So it's not something that you're going to be stuck in forever. If you're willing to take off the blindfold and kind of realize that it's a situation that you can get out of because you got yourself into it, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to proceed forward. I think the key here is learning to trust yourself. Right? And I think with like a Pisces rising, especially like, you know, Saturn and Neptune in your 1st house is like, am I seeing things clearly? You know, am I lost? Like what direction am I going in? And there will be this shift that you will feel when Saturn and Neptune go into Aries when it's in your 2nd house. It's not just about money. This is going to be reinvesting in yourself, believing in yourself, working on your self-esteem, taking action, like really feeling as if you're building some new foundation for your life. Right? And it's all going to be based off of a new set of values, or now it's now all going to be based off of some new financial kind of shift. Doubt and not trusting comes up with the 7 of Swords. So there's like this sense of, yeah, there's things that I want to do, but like, I don't know if I could do that. You know, I don't know if that's possible. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you guys, you got to dream big and be super crazy and willing to kind of pull up your sleeves and initiate something new, especially if you want to make more money. Or if you want to feel more financially free or independent, if you want to feel like you have more capability of being able to have spending power, if you want to have better self-esteem, all of that's going to be kind of worked on in the 2nd house. So if you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your ability to change, you're doubting your vision, if you're feeling like you're going to be alone and nothing is going to work, you have to shake some of that stuff out. That's what needs to happen. 7 of Swords is about not doubting yourself, trusting yourself, and also being mindful that you may be potentially dealing in situations where like people aren't giving you good advice or people are kind of steering you wrong. And like, you know, maybe in the past, whether it was with relationships, finances, job, health, whatever, you have asked other people for their advice or their support. And now as the Pisces rising, with the South Node going through your 7th house, you're like, I don't want to talk to a therapist. Like, I don't want to reconnect with people from the past. I'm sick of people trying to think that they understand me or they can tell me what to do. And on one hand, that can put you in a position where if you're not willing to make the change, you're going to feel lost and you're going to feel stuck. But this can also be a turning point where you're like, rather than just doing what people are recommending that I do, why don't I just tune into my intuition, listen to myself? Why don't I focus more on meditation? Why don't I focus more on, you know, like what my gut is telling me when it comes to making moves and putting myself first? And I say this not only because of the transits, I say this because the final card that you have is the High Priestess card, which is literally tapping in and being like, I am waiting for the signal from the universe. I am waiting for that dream, that omen. Like, ask the universe for signs. That's what I would tell you right now, for when it's time to make a change and be specific, okay? Because the High Priestess, she sits there and she just waits for the information to come. She's not reaching out. She's not calling people. She's not asking people their opinion. She's not asking for help. She's like, nope, I already know what I'm doing. I'm just waiting until I get like the signal, the bat signal, to actually start getting the show on the road. And believe it or not, I think that a lot of Pisces risings are going to actually fare much better than a lot of other signs during this transit, because they're going to be capable of going, nope, I'm going into my inner world. What's best for me? Okay, let me deal with the emotions, process it, and then move on. So I think your gut is going to be really strong. And if you don't want to kind of feel like you're getting stuck in situations, you're repeating the past, then you have to learn to kind of trust your gut. You have to really listen to what is best for you. And yes, it's going to feel selfish. Okay. But that's just the way that it's going to go. And be mindful of whose advice that you buy throughout the transits of the next couple of months, because people will try to tell you what you should do, but they don't really fully understand the bigger picture of what you're trying to work through and also how you feel. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, we got David. And if you guys still want to get a reading, scan the QR code if you want to get in the queue. We're going to call last call. David says, hey, Candace, this is Dave. Hi, Dave. Gemini Sun, Leo Rising, Taurus Moon. Wondering if I can have a 3-card reading. Well, you got it. You're welcome, Stephanie. All right, so what can I sell this Leo Rising general 3-card reading? In this order, we have got the Hierophant, the card of the evening, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 6 of Swords. Here goes. These are good cards. You got 2 majors too. So you've got the Hierophant, which has a strong kind of connection to commitment, authority, responsibility, long-term goals, especially in society, with career, or having some kind of like mentorship, or you're working with like a professional. So like the Hierophant would be a priest, a doctor, a therapist, a lawyer, like somebody who's going to show you the way. And it can also be signifying some major turning points that are going to be happening in March. Then you got the Wheel of Fortune card. And then you got the 6 of Swords. I kind of feel like it's basically saying there is a turning point that is going to be coming for you when it comes to your career, your profession, and your authority in some way. This is not bad. The only thing I think about with like the Aquarius transits for Leo rising right now is just there is a ton of planets in the 7th house, which is basically your chart ruler, the sun, going through the house of relationships. So getting a reading, talking to a therapist, trying to meet a girl, hanging out with your friends, it's a lot of other people's stuff. And I think that the cards are actually really pretty bang on. I mean, it's talking about like a really positive twist of fate or turn of events that are going to be happening for you. Likely you're going to be seeing this in May, June. The Wheel of Fortune is spinning. It's about whether or not things are going to land in your favor. I think in the current position, it's saying that there are good things on the horizon that are coming your way that can involve changes with education, travel, and your career. Could be you having to train for work and you have to travel somewhere and it ends up being a blast. It could mean that there is a chance opportunity for you to connect and work with somebody and they end up mentoring you or kind of guiding you and connecting you with other people that help you grow your career, and it ends up playing out very well for you. I also like the fact that you have the Wheel of Fortune card that is about the fixed turning points of the year. So with Ezekiel's wheel, we see all of the different archetypes that represent the fixed parts of the year. So we're in Aquarius season now. We're going into Taurus season. So it's literally saying, hey, something is coming May, June. This is going to be something that's going to be a turning point that's going to be really positive for your career. And I also like that the 6 of Swords is coming up because this is a card that's like, getting in your little water taxi and going to safety. Like after going through, obviously we've seen a lot of swords this evening. So the tumultuousness of the early cards in the suit of swords is conflict, confusion, miscommunication, stress, worry, strife. And then it's like, thank God, 6 of Swords is like, I'm moving on from that. Things are simmering down. I'm getting a bit of a break. I'm getting some peace. This is also about like a steward of some kind. So sometimes this represents travel over water, going on a trip, something like that. But it could represent somebody coming into your life. It's like, hey, things are looking kind of hairy. Like, you need some help? Like, you're sending your SOS signal? How can I help you with this situation? And it could be a relationship coming in to help you. It could be somebody who invites you to go on a road trip or to go and do something and get away to get your mind off of it. It could be somebody who's offering you, a lifeline, being like, hey, you want to get out of this job? I have an opportunity for you. You want to take it? So somebody's going to come in and they're going to help you with that process. Obviously, 6 of Swords can be indicative of moves, transfers, and other things that are kind of switching departments or moving locations. So there's going to be a lot of movement that you're going to see. And I'm predicting you're going to get the messages about some of this stuff in May. And then you're going to see the movement that's going to start happening May into June. But honestly, in this case, change is good. And I really feel like this is about leveling up when it comes to your occupation and, your kind of like professional persona in a way. Somebody's going to be helping you really fully develop that and give you an opportunity to be able to have a significant change, right? This is consistent with another message you gave me about work. And being a Leo rising, that makes sense. Like planets are going to conjunct Uranus. Uranus is going to change signs. I think we're going to see a lot of Leo risings that are going to start working, in collaboration with new groups. So there's going to be something kind of happening. But Leo risings right now with Mars retrograde in your ascendant, there's like this retreat going on, and like there's a need to like really rest and kind of be in hermit mode. And it's been, obviously, there's a lot of energies going through the 7th house. So the 7th house is not all rainbows and butterflies, guys. 7th house is like opposition, challenges. It's like a boxing ring. This is where we meet other people. We can kind of get into it with others. So you can be seeing other people acting kind of crazy and erratically with planets going through Aquarius, but it's all trining Jupiter, right? So it's about having good friends to lean on and other people who you can kind of get insight from and having community. So happy to have you here, David. Let's see. Did we get other people that came in? If you guys want, we can call last call and take whoever else is hanging around. All you got to do is just scan the QR code. Are we done with the swords? God, I hope so. I've been getting a lot of swords too. I'm looking at my cards today. I got 2 of swords. So I feel that. But I feel pretty optimistic about how many times we saw the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like that's like a really good card. I feel the swords. Just a couple announcements really quick before we finish up for tonight. Number one, I'm going to be back on Sunday. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe. I am putting out videos every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Sunday, we always do the week ahead and we talk about the astro weather. And we're going to talk all about Jupiter going direct this week and what that means for you guys. We've been trying to create some like little short form content videos, so you can always see those coming out with my videos as well. If you want like a quick 1 to 2 minute kind of recap of what the videos are about, make sure you like those and share those. It's helping the channel grow. I would really appreciate it. We're getting so close to 40,000 subscribers. If you guys want to book a personal reading with me, you can find me at beyondtheveiledtarot.com. You can click the links in the description below. I have one-on-one consultations that are a combination of intuitive readings with Western astrology and tarot. I also teach tarot, so if you guys want to check out my courses, I have a beginner's tarot course. I'd love to teach you how to read. We've got calendars, bags, mugs, books, all kinds of stuff on my website that you guys can check out. And I'm running a special actually for this month. I'm doing 15% off of all my synastry readings that are booked for Valentine's Day. And if I'm doing my math correctly, I'm going to be here on Valentine's Day doing readings. So you guys can come and hang out with me on Valentine's Day if you have questions about any of that stuff. And don't forget to consider joining my memberships if you guys want to get a reading with me in the future on one of the future Friday lives. I'd love to read for you guys. That's going to be all for me this evening. So thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I will catch you guys back here on Sunday. I hope you enjoy your weekend and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.